I mean, there's more content now with the Eagles than there is during the season. I can't believe, man. I mean, so let me get this right. Sirianni all year long goes like this. This is my issue, and everyone else gets blown out but him. Hey, only one guy, man, because I'll tell you what, we got a lot to hit on here. I got the Bible of Philly sports talk. You know why we're one of the most watched shows in Philly? Because I read the Bible. That's why. And it's with Angelo Cataldi on Sports Talk. That's why, Angelo. How you doing, my friend?
Well, if it is the Bible, given my age, it's the Old Testament. All right.
Man. Hey, let me ask you something about Andy Reid. And watching that, and I'm going to throw this at you here. When I saw Andy Reid picking up that Lombardi trophy, you know, the first thing that popped into my mind, look, 14 years, I get it. You could go back and forth, Angelo. But the first thing I thought about was 5, Donovan McNabb, on what could have been if he just embraced maybe the smartest play calling head coach we've seen since Bill Walsh. I mean, it just seemed like lost opportunity.
Yeah. I'm not going that far with the testimonials for the fat man. All right, Dan. I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm going to give you a real simple exercise in logic. All right. Andy Reid, in the first 19 seasons, he was an NFL coach. He had these quarterbacks: Doug Peterson, Donovan McNabb, Jeff Garcia, Kevin Cobb, Michael Vick, Vince Young, Nick Foles, Alex Smith. All right. He had all those guys. And then as a rookie, Patrick Mahomes. In those 19 seasons, he won 0 championships. 0. In the last 5 seasons, with a now, really locked in Patrick Mahomes, he won 3. All right. Jay, is it maybe Mahomes and not Reid? And you watched, just look at the last drive. Just look at the last drive in overtime. And don't get me wrong, it was a great Super Bowl. I loved it. The fourth quarter in overtime, that's the most tense I've ever felt without a team I was rooting for. That was great sports drama. It doesn't get better than how exciting that was. All right. But watch the plays as they unfold and watch the genius in the moment of Patrick Mahomes improvising the 4th down play. There were 3 variables there. He knew exactly what to do when they lined up. That is the magic of Patrick Mahomes, way more than it is Andy Reid. The fact that they made the play call that won it, ironically, was very similar to the 2 plays that burned the Eagles the previous year. Great play call. I'll give Reid total credit for that, right? Still, perfect execution in the biggest moment of his career by Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. Andy Reid is not the genius that Tony Romo yelled out at the very last play. Oh, Andy Reid,
You think he's overrated? You think he's overrated?
Patrick Mahomes is the reason they're winning championship. Patrick Mahomes is the reason, not Andy Reid. Andy Reid's I can't say he's not a good play caller. He obviously is, right? And he obviously, after 24, 25 years as a head coach, he's won so much. I just sound like a bitter old man when I tell you I still can't stand the guy. But Patrick Mahomes is the reason they're having parades, not Andy Reid. Give me a break, will you?
Do you think he failed in Philly?
Don't drink the Kool-Aid, Danny.
All right. Do you think he failed in Philly then, Andy Reid?
Oh, Andy Reid failed in Philly because he couldn't get, he didn't have the right quarterback. You have a guy who in the moment knew what to do. All that clock management junk that happened when Andy Reid was in Philadelphia, it was epic. All right. He just kept blowing time out, all the stuff he did. That was because McNabb didn't know how to lead the team in the moment on the field. A coach can only do so much. McNabb held him back from having a chance to win a championship, but he wasn't going to win one until he got a guy like Mahomes, who, honestly, Mahomes has a chance to be better than Brady. You know why? Because he's got more talent than Brady.
Yeah.
He's got more talent. And he is so aware in the moment and so locked in on winning. That's the reason you win. I'll go further. Brady won 6 with Belichick and 1 without him, right?
Yeah.
Brady's the reason Belichick won 6.
Correct.
Right? Belichick did nothing before and did nothing after. Let me tell you something. Reid is lucky because Reid will be the coach of Mahomes for the rest of Reid's coaching career. So he's probably going to win another 1 or maybe 2. He's definitely a Hall of Famer now, and all that's true. But I watched the man for 14 years win nothing here, and I watched that man never answer a question honestly. And my memory is still pretty good. He's never going to be a big hero to me. Never.
Wow, you're not impressed with him
Never
as a head coach.
No, look, obviously he's not a he's a
I
hell
get
of
it.
a lot better than the garbage we saw from Nick Sirianni this year. All right. In his worst year, Andy Reid was not as bad as Nick Sirianni was in 2023. In his worst year, Reid is better than that. All right. But the idea that Reid is this genius because he did this when he was here. He just wins over the national media with his fat jokes and his silliness and his just now he's pitching commercials. Those are, you know how hard it is to hate Andy Reid right now, Dan. I put on the TV and he's holding up a Lombardi trophy. Then 5 minutes later, there's a commercial. He's there with Mahomes selling burgers or whatever the hell he's selling. It's very hard to hate Andy Reid in this world today. But I am standing alone in my despising of him even today.
Wait a minute. No, because listen, I'm listening to you here because as a former player and now been in this business for 30 plus years, I mean, you always got the impression, just as a guy like how I cover people, he's a BS artist.
Oh, the worst. Not even an artist. I wouldn't even give him artist. He wouldn't answer a question. Do you understand? He wouldn't answer a question. The time is yours. Let me start with the injuries. You could have programmed. They're talking now about AI and all these programs, the robotics. He was AI before there was AI. He was a robot before there were robots. All that guy ever did was I interviewed him enough times.
Oh, I got it.
He didn't answer a damn question ever. And then he'd do a testimonial how much he loved the fans. If he loved the fans, he would have answered a question honestly once in a while, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Just platitudes, mind-numbing cliches. I dealt with it for 14 years every day, Dan. It drove me to distraction. And when he left, I was euphoric. I was thrilled. And then they brought in somebody who knew how to win a Super Bowl, Doug Peterson. And as I sit here now, almost exactly 1 year after retirement, my greatest frustration in a city that prioritizes championships like no other city in America, my greatest frustration is that the city of Philadelphia loves Andy Reid and only likes Doug Peterson, who did win the Super Bowl in 5 years. Reid 0 for 14, Peterson 1 for 5. Reid is loved, Peterson is liked. I'll never be able to understand that.
Do you think the Eagles organization has a lot to do with that?
I don't know. I don't understand. The Eagles fired him after 14 years, and Jeff Lurie, the owner, is still palling around with Reid every chance he can get. And it's all just, I don't know. I know this.
He's a weird owner, the way he talks about, he's there's good and then there's weirdness to him and how he operates.
Well, there's one thing that's come to my attention since I talked to you after the Eagles were eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. And this is so mind-boggling to me. If I were on WIP, this would have been my show for 2 weeks after the Eagles were eliminated. Jeff Lurie watched his team implode the way no Eagles team has in the history of the NFL. I don't know that any other team did what the Eagles did at 10-1. I don't think it's ever happened. The man got up from his luxury suite in Tampa and traveled to St. Martin to purchase a new yacht. Now, in the annals of bad PR, when your city is bleeding from the demise of your team, that you are flaunting your billionaire status by buying a new yacht, to me, is not a great PR move. And I would have pounded that into the ground until the Eagles PR department called my bosses and told me to shut up, at which point I would have had a fight with my bosses. But that's the way it works. That guy is totally tone deaf in his own city, Jeff Lurie, and he is a man who is completely separated from the reality of his fan base and his team because he surrounds himself with ass kissers. He surrounds himself with Nick Siriannis, who will do whatever he asks him to do. You know why Sirianni's still the coach?
Sirianni, because he walks around
because he just
saying yes.
He went in there and he bowed down.
You bet.
And he said, I won't have any control over the offense. I won't have any control over the defense. I won't have any control over special teams. I will not really have any say. If there's any strategic issues that come up in games in 2024, I don't have to worry about that because I got Jeff Lurie's son and his analytics department. Julian Lurie leads the analytics department. They have already figured out every fourth down situation. All I got to do is look down or hear in my ear what I should be doing 4th and 2 from the 37-yard line because Lurie has already looked at it, Julian Lurie, and they've already figured all that out. So I can literally stand on the sideline and do nothing for 3 hours, 17 times in the season, and then I can still be called the head coach. That's what's going on here. He'll only deal with people who tell him how right he is. That's Jeff Lurie. It's always been the way he is, and it's worse now than it's ever been. He went yacht shopping the day after that end of the season.
In a blue-collar city like Philly, that's a civic pride entity, that Eagle team, this guy's out spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a yacht.
Of their money.
And then they're going to raise ticket prices to pay for Jalen Hurts' contract. You know that's coming. There's going to be a ticket price raise, and he's taking the money of the fans, buying a yacht, and then he's going to raise ticket prices on you, and he brings back that clown Sirianni, and he fires the entire coaching staff except him.
Well, we had to wait 9 days because he was at St. Martin for the first 3 or 4, and then it snowed. So, I mean, priorities are in order here. We're not going to deal with the crisis on the team where we got a yacht to shop for. I don't know if he bought one. I'm going to assume he did, but he went shopping for a yacht. You got to be kidding me. Damn. How did this story not get more play in our town?
Oh, well, here, I'll hook you up. Bob Lang calling and having making sure that all the key fobs and everyone knows their position when it comes to key fob accessibility to the place. You either want to come in or you don't. And if you don't, guess what? You want to start talking like that. That's a damn shame too, because it's not the same in Philadelphia when they had you and Howard on, the way you guys would talk. And I'll ask.
No, don't put Howard in there. Howard is the biggest Eagles ass kisser there is. Howard, to be able to be on the sideline, hasn't had a negative word to say about the Eagles in 15 years. So don't lump him in. I am a voice in the wilderness now, Dan Sileo. I am I'm with you. I'm with you. And I am here as a dinosaur.
No, I am here with you. I'm here with you, Angelo. I
No,
think this
you are, Dan.
organization-
You're the last. Now you're the last man standing because I'm lying down most of the time now. I'm
What did
old.
you make of them completely retooling the defense and offense and keeping one guy and keeping the guy who's going to cost them,
Yeah.
in my opinion, next year a chance to really turn this thing around? I mean, I'll even put it this way to you, Angelo. My concern is not with Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts. My concern is Nick Sirianni and the relationship with Kellen Moore. How's that dynamic going to work when Kellen Moore wants to run something, Sirianni overrules him?
No, it's going to work because Sirianni's not overruling anybody. He already gave the power away. Kellen Moore will be the final word on the offense. They're not going to say this, but I'm telling you, that's the way it works now. The only way Sirianni could save his job would be to completely abdicate himself, take himself completely out of the equation. And then when they asked him, well, what are you going to do now? Oh, I'm the CEO. I'm now the CEO of the Philadelphia Eagles. What the hell does that mean?
I don't know. I've never heard
not in
that.
charge of anything. And he's not going to be. And he's not calling the plays. And after the game, Kellen Moore should be the one that's answering the questions about what happened on offense. And Vic Fangio should be the one answering the questions on defense, because those are the guys who are running those two units.
Now I know why, Angelo, you've only won one Super Bowl in 30 years. This stuff here it's chaos in the organization. It's self-inflicted.
Yeah, it's dysfunctional. Let's put it that way. But they had a good enough team 2 years ago to win it for sure. And the defense flopped in the second half. You saw what happened with a team plays hard. The Niners gave them everything they could deal with. They really did. They went after him.
Yep.
Nick Bosa had 10 pressures. Nick Bosa, 10 times.
Warner was great.
He had the quarterback within range. 10 times he had Mahomes running for his life, right? That's what the Eagles could have used the year before. And this past year, they weren't as good a team because they let go of Kaiser White, TJ Edwards. They let go of Javon Hargrave. They let go of some top defensive people, and they got burned for doing it, right? But they were better than losing 6 of the last 7. They were a lot better team than that. They fell apart. And they fell apart because the coach doesn't know what he's doing.
How about this, Angelo? I know the agent for Cliff Kingsbury. And whether you like Kingsbury or not, I want to show you and listen to a process that went on. So they did a Zoom first interview with him. Then they had a sit down in person with him. Things were going great. They were going to draw up the contracts, and he was going to be. Now, whatever you think of him, it's not really the issue, because he has worked with an RPO guy in Mahomes and also with Murray.
Yep.
And what they did was, once they started talking money, got a little bit dicey. Then when Kingsbury said, hey, I want to bring certain guys in to bring out the best in Hurts from the 22 season by bringing RPO guys in, the organization, from what I'm being told, they went, whoa, and they balked and they passed, because he was going to get that job as OC in Philadelphia. Instead, he goes to Washington. It just goes to your point that they are in control of the hirings of all assistant coaches, and this leads back to what you always said with Doug. This is why Doug kicked the rock down the road. Oh,
he did. There's no question about it. Then that means they're moving away from RPOs for good.
They are. They want a better version. Right. The reason they're bringing Kellen Moore in my opinion, they don't want the 22 Hurts. They want a better version of 23. What RPO quarterback is Kellen Moore? That's not an RPO guy. No. Justin Herbert is clearly not an RPO guy.
You're right.
So you're going to see less running. Yep. They're going to see more passing. And personally, Angelo, you paid $50 million, $255 million for the 22 version.
Right.
You're changing the guy from what he was. Patrick Mahomes won that game. Why? 66 yards rushing. He turned into an RPO guy. That's the only reason they beat the Niners.
100%. Patrick Mahomes is God to me right now. He's just so damn good. He wills himself to victory. He covers the imperfections of his own head coach, who couldn't win anything the first 19 years. But all this tells me is, if They made an organizational decision not to go back to the RPO. So they needed to get a coach who would do their bidding on whatever the new style was that they wanted to adopt. Vic Fangio's here because he runs a bend but don't break,
Right.
but he does it a lot better than Sean Desai, who worked for Fangio. So they went, well, Fangio runs the kind of defense we want. Kellen Moore will run the kind of offense we want. So we are basically the determinants of everything that happens in our football team. All right, you're the owner, you're the general manager, that's fine. Whatever made you think you were this brilliant at it, that you got this deeply involved? I'll tell you what did. You won a Super Bowl. Now, if you really want to analyze the winning of that Super Bowl in 2017, you'll realize it was an outlier. It was a 1 in a million shot. It was unbelievable that it happened. But what it did was it solidified in the egomaniacal mind of Jeff Lurie and to some degree the GM Howie Roseman that they are brilliant now at football, that they are the champions. They are the 49ers that they used as their model 30 years ago. When they first came in, they said, we want to be like the Niners. Now they think, well, we are. We're the champs. And you know what? That leads me to believe they'll never win another one.
No.
If their fingerprints are that much over what they're doing on the offense and defense, that they're determining exactly what they're going to want and bringing coaches in to do that, we're screwed.
How about this?
Every coach is different. Every coach is different. You got to let the coach coach.
Britton Covey reached out to me, Angelo, and he wanted to have a conversation. We had a conversation because I posted, because he said something on Radio Row in Vegas and I said, how long before you walk this one back, or Bob Lang makes you walk this thing back, where he said that, get this. Well, you know, the players and the coaches were kind of at odds towards the end of the year. And he said this 2 weeks ago. And I'm sitting there going like this, and I go, Britton, are you going to walk this one back? How long before the PR department gets in your ass before you start walking everything back like everyone else? So again, of course, I get heat from that from certain people that you know. And I'm sitting there going, Britton contacts me. Well, I think he's telling the truth. And you bring that guy back that had all the discord in the locker room. Angelo, he's not a problem solver. You're not going to, when things go south, that guy is not going to solve a problem for you next year. Would it shock you that he doesn't last past week 8 next year?
Well, yeah, they're like one of the coordinators they picked to take over.
Kellen Moore, who interviewed for the job.
Probably. That'd be fine. You know what? The Eagles don't have a head coach now. You understand that? I just try to explain that he's not in charge of your offense and defense. All of the analytics have taken care of the strategy. He's not. Oh, he's in charge of the news conferences. Oh, now that he's a master of. He's awful at all of it. He can't coach. He just proved it. But he's still there. Why? Because he is their Pinocchio. I got no strings to hold me down. When they asked him, oh, who decided to go from Sean Desai to Matt Patricia? I got 82-inch high-definition screen, Dan. I focused it up tight. And when he went, that was my decision. Sirianni's nose grew 1.25 inches, just like Pinocchio. Are you kidding me? Really? Do you think we're that stupid? The only problem now is, Dan, you're the voice in the wilderness. You're the only one calling these guys out and not worrying about what the PR department says, because this is a disaster waiting to happen. The Eagles next year will win. Nostradamus. 5 games.
Oh, hey, listen.
5.
Okay, wait a minute.
5
So
and 12.
Angelo's on record.
5 and 12. 5 and 12. Take the under. Take the under.
5 and 12.
I don't say that with joy. I love the Eagles. I want them to win every game. 5. One hand. If you want to remember my prediction, think of a guy who blew it for a decade here. Number 5, Donovan McNabb. 5. That's what they got this year. 5. 5 wins.
when you look at me, you must, because I look at you and I see, and I'm like, we're the only people that think like this, man. I said the same thing. I mean, Angelo, you made the prediction at the end how many games they would lose.
Yeah.
Now, I got to go a couple last questions here for you. Jalen Hurts. You really think and you're confident then that Jalen Hurts can overcome the incompetence around him to turn his career around when you have all this discord around him?
He couldn't do it this year.
He couldn't overcome the incompetence.
Couldn't do it. My best bet on him is that after this next season, when they have a losing season, he will become a malcontent. He will become much more. He's already got that tendency to where, he's like, you could tell. You could tell at the end of last season he was not happy. All right. He's going to start becoming another version of A.J. Brown, because A.J. Brown's not happy right now. All right. A.J. Brown didn't think they used him correctly this year, and he happens to be correct. He's right. All right. It's the same thing when you saw what happened on the sideline with Travis Kelce. Here's what nobody wants to say about that. Travis Kelce almost knocks Andy Reid on his fat ass right on the sideline, Super Bowl. You know why? Because it's the second quarter and he's had one touch. And Travis Kelce knows that he's the best weapon on offense. And they won the game in the second half and kept throwing Travis Kelce the ball. He had to practically assault Andy Reid to get him to call his number. All right? Oh, then they win. Oh, Andy Reid, my God, what a genius. He almost got assaulted by his biggest star on offense other than Mahomes because he wasn't calling his number. Give me a break. Will you?
Hey,
see
Angelo,
what I'm seeing.
Angelo, now I'll finish that take.
Yep.
Well, if that's A.J. Brown or if that's Antonio Brown or if that's a black player, that black player is run out of the league.
Yeah.
Okay.
The cops would have let him off the field like they did with Big Dom. Remember Big Dom?
I saw. Hey, by the way, did he not? Now, look, I can't do this because Angelo knows this, so I have to aim it way over here. I think Big Dom threw the Maloik. I think he dropped the Maloik on Greenlaw because when that kid was running out on the field, man, out of nowhere, a sniper hit him. And I was like, Big Dom must have dropped. He must have dropped the Maloik on him.
I never thought of that. The guy got wiped out running out of the field.
Yeah.
Maloik.
Yeah, he dropped the man. Hey, you know what? You got me suspended.
Works every time. Works every time.
Hey, Angelo, how's the book coming? And I hope everyone gets it. Make sure you go to Amazon.
Thank you. Thank you. The audio book should be out in a month or so. It's all recorded. It's all edited. They showed me the cover. There's even a cover for audiobooks. I didn't even know there was one. It should be out soon, and I'll give people more information. Just go to AngeloCataldi.com. And I write on my blog all the time. In the middle of all of what happened right after the Super Bowl, I did trash Andy Reid on my blog, if you want to read it, AngeloCataldi.com. Just go there, and you'll see some of this stuff, why I still am not a believer. All these years, still not a believer.
I got you. Angelo, you are absolutely great. You know, it just seems I'm the only guy that talks like you that's left in this thing here because you and I don't see it. I don't see I don't see what they're doing, and I'm not buying what they're doing. They're not. You're trying to sell me land in the Everglades when I know it's going to sink.
Exactly. And that applies to Andy Reid too. We're being sold a lot of baloney these days. Somebody's got to be there to tell the truth. And now it's all on you, Sileo. I'm tired and I'm old and I'm done.
Thank you, Angelo. I appreciate it, my friend.
See you later, Danny.
You bet. Never, ever in a million years did I expect him to go after Andy Reid like that. Called him basically a nobody. Okay. Holy cow. Completely 5 wins. He's predicting 5 wins. That was absolute. Hey, That was Angelo Cataldi at his best. At his best. Holy cow. Did he go all in? Dude, hey, he really threw me a curveball with the whole Andy Reid thing. I won't lie to you. Thinks he's a phony. Thinks it's all Mahomes. You know, I want to say this. You know, Brett Veach and Andy didn't find Mahomes. It was John Dorsey. You know who everybody in the media wanted you guys to draft? Deshaun Watson. Or they wanted Kansas City to draft. Excuse me. They wanted Kansas City to draft Deshaun Watson instead of Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. I actually posted that video of John Dorsey saying when everyone was going like this, I disagree with you guys. Will Kane said he's undisciplined. Chris Carter attacked him and said the only guy winning titles is going to be Deshaun Watson. Shannon Sharp ripped him a new one and said that Patrick Mahomes is not a good player. When he named all those quarterbacks, Andy had in the past opened your eyes a little bit. I'm a Dougie P guy. That's me. And that's my guy telling, don't forget, 4:30, we will talk to him. Hey, Dan, does he purposely say the long? Hey, when you're Angelo Cataldi, you could say Sileo. Okay? You could call me Sileo when you're Angelo Cataldi. I don't care. You think I'm correcting Angelo on my name? I'm not doing that. I'm good there. All right. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show. We're going to hit on that.